You're listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the South Burbs Hitmen podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, Steven Zimmerman, and Vinnie Parisi. We're bringing you the White Sox coverage you need from the perspective of true Southsiders. Grab your Comiskey dog with an ice-cold beer and meet us in section 155. Everyone get on your feet for your South Burbs Hitmen.
That ball hit deep. Way back. You can put it on the board. Yes. Jimenez in the air. Left field. He's your hero tonight. Thanks, Cubs.
Over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws. Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
Alexei. Yes! 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 History! A perfect game by Mark Burley, and what an unbelievable play by 25.
First pitch starts now.
Oh my God. He's shit everywhere.
There's shit everywhere! Damn it! There's shit on the windows! Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Now that looks to be like some sort of swarming mob.
Yeah, I know what they're so angry about, though.
I don't know. Something bad's about to happen to somebody. Is it us?
Yep.
Get in, go.
All right, guys. I totally forgot to take down the image, but it doesn't matter because I put together that open, which I had a lot of fun doing. Welcome to another spectacular edition of another craptacular edition of South Burbs Hitmen. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mandel, and I'm joined as always by my White Sox brothers in arms. I'm talking about Vinnie Parisi and Steven Zimmerman. Gentlemen, it has been beyond craptacular of a week. I feel like I summarized it very nicely in the open with they just shit everywhere. Are there any lights at the end of the tunnel from the top of this week? Because I don't think so. It's open question, so jump in if you want.
It is very rare that a baseball team wins one game in their first 10. It is not at all likely. I think you can bet every year $100 on your favorite team getting at least 2 wins in their first 10 games, and you will hit almost every year. The White Sox have not done that. They are 1-9. They lost today, Monday, for those listening on audio, 4-0 to the Cleveland Guardians. Another game where they were shut out. They don't score runs. They give up a lot of runs. They lose a lot. I do believe in baseball. So, remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. The Cincinnati Reds started something like 3-33. And they ended up getting to 65 wins, right? I do believe in regression to the mean, positive regression. I do believe in that. Nobody can be this bad for 162 games. I don't think the White Sox are going to win 30-something games. I think they'll be in the 40s or 50s like your typical terrible team. They're on pace for 30, which is hilarious. I don't think they'll be that low, but I do think it's going to be the worst team in franchise history. I think me and Zim or me and Joe, someone said that on the podcast before we started with the last show.
I think it was Zim.
It was probably Zim, the worst
it was not
team
me.
in franchise history, and I'm sticking by that because I only think it's going to get worse in terms of injuries and underperformance. Now, that's all right after coming with saying, regression to the mean and positively. I do think that will happen a little bit, but that'll be 3 wins out of 10 instead of 7. You know what I mean? It's not like, or, you know, they'll probably have a real good week one time where they win 5 out of 10, you know? It's just pathetic. The team's a joke. They're not fun. Hate them. Hate Pedro Grifol. I hate Yohan Moncada. I hate Luis Robert Jr. I hate Jerry Reinsdorf. I hate myself. It's just all craptacular.
That it follows the theme of the show. I love that, bringing it full circle, Vin. Zim, speaking of craptacular, last show we were together, which was last Saturday, not last Monday, we were pleasantly surprised with how competitive this team was through 3 games, and they stuck in it. They've done nothing but disappoint ever since. Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez on the IL. How are you feeling deep inside your soul?
I mean, weirdly enough, they still have been reasonably competitive in a lot of these games.
It's true.
You know, you look at the way they've started the season. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these games were 1-run games. 5 of them were 2 runs or less, and 6 of them were 3 runs or less. So they've really only been blown out twice, which, like, for a 1-9 team, you take the little victories where you can, and I think that actually is one for this team. The problem is their season high for runs was on day 2 of the season when they scored 6 runs. They have only mustered 3 runs in any other game. They've been shut out 4 times already. This offense is so bad. You know, Chris Getz put this big emphasis on defense, and I guess the defense isn't terrible, but, like, you have to score runs to win games. So
that sounds about right.
Let me ask you guys something. In order to be 62-100 and not lose more than 100 games, to be 62-100, they would have to go 61-83 in their final 152 games.
It's not possible.
Which is like a 407 winning percentage, which is like 66 wins in a full season. Do you think that happens?
No, this is like a 350 win percentage team.
This team's going to lose 120 games.
Hell yeah. And they can't have a top 10 pick.
My projection puts them at 56 wins.
56 wins. I don't know what my 120 losses puts me at.
Well, that would only be 42 wins.
I'm going to go with 42 wins.
I'm guessing they'll be 14 games better than you think, which, I mean, if they're at the top of the division, that's quite the swing. But when you're at the bottom of the division, that feels pretty pointless. And what's fantastic about all of this, and this is a totally irrelevant point right now at this point in the season, but what's the funniest part about all of this is they're going to be this bad so soon after MLB has changed the draft to a lottery style system where they're not even guaranteed the first overall pick for being this terrible. They could end up as low as the 10th pick.
They're not allowed to be top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Because they technically won a lottery last draft.
That's right.
They picked 5th overall in June. And because they're a big market team, you can't win a lottery spot 2 years in a row. So 0% chance at Holiday's brother, who's apparently better than him.
Oh, he is. Have you seen the clips of these kids?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're good.
Oh, yeah.
And a great comment from the barkeeper. Teams this bad that want the state to pay for their stadium are a perfect example of ownership gone completely bonkers.
Yeah. You want to look at an ownership group that's like actually doing some right things in the city right now. Look at what the Bears are doing. They're trying to build a stadium. They're fighting to stay in the city. They're not asking for taxpayer money at all as of right now. That could change. It will probably change. It shouldn't change. But regardless, and they're doing everything they can to give the franchise a facelift in order to try and save their image a little bit. Meanwhile, the White Sox they've gone completely off the rails. They've hired baseball's equivalent of Matt Nagy to be their head coach. And I'm not talking 2018 Matt Nagy. I'm talking 2021 Matt Nagy. This is It's spiraling the drain, man. I mean, it's a big turd just circling.
Craptacular.
I think Pedro Grifol is. I don't follow the NBA like I should, but I follow the NHL and the NFL pretty intensely, along with MLB, obviously. I think Pedro Grifol might be the worst manager and/or head coach of any of the big four men's major sports.
Oh, I completely agree.
I can't
He's the
think of
least
anybody
likable. Well, I don't know if he's the least likable, but there's nothing likable about him. You know, the only reason he's not the least likable is because there's other guys going out there actively like putting targets on their backs.
Yes.
You know, that's the only reason he's not. He's the hardest to like, though. There's that to say for sure. He's what, Joe?
Craptacular. Say it with me, folks. I couldn't think of anything else to name the show this week, and it seems to have fit the bill.
Yeah. I mean,
true.
Victor in the chat nailed it with his comment. Just keep selling off players for cash considerations. They'll make back their $1 billion over the next 100 years, and maybe then they'll finally field a competitive team.
They will have tryouts.
Amazing to think how far we've come since the division championship, since the Field of Dreams game, since the Brian Goodwin walk-off, man. Y'all remember that? That was nuts. Where's Brian Goodwin nowadays? I mean, he's nowhere to be found.
Since that game when Brian Goodwin walked off the Boston Red Sox, the Red Sox made it to the ALCS, finished last place a couple years in a row, and got themselves back into contention to start this season. That's what good teams do.
And they look legitimately better than they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's even with Trevor Story going down.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I think is kind of expected at this point in Trevor Story's career, but
yeah, and they have a good manager.
They do.
Good manager.
Brian Goodwin is playing in the Atlantic League currently. He plays for the Long Island Ducks of the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball.
Wow.
And if I remember correctly, he's had a couple tweets lately. I can't remember if he liked them or commented on them or kind of dissing the White Sox a little bit. I could try and find it.
Well, they're a horribly run organization. Their fans are far more loyal than they deserve. You know, I don't know any Cubs podcasts that are still out here once a week. Hey, we're allowed to root for a second team.
Yeah, but that team's a dumpster.
They stink too.
Dude, that's what I was going to follow up your statement at the beginning of the show with, Vin. You mentioned, how likely is it that your team will only win one game? Well, let me tell you, buddy, I'm rooting for 3 teams this season, and they have a combined 4 wins so far. So
nice.
Are 2 of those from the Rockies, Zim?
2 of those. The Rockies have twice as many wins as the Chicago White Sox right now.
I watched the Rockies. I went to Cubs opening day and saw Chris Bryant get his standing ovation, and the Cubs beat the ever-living dog crap out of him.
Chris Bryant should be benched. He is an active detriment to that team. He's got a negative WAR since joining the Rockies, and it's so evident. I mean, you want to talk about a well-run organization. Look at the other side of town right now.
Yeah.
They got rid of their 3 franchise players at the plate, at least. They went and they got rid of Anthony Rizzo, Javi Baez, and Chris Bryant at the peak of their popularity in the city of Chicago. And they've rebuilt this thing in 2 years to be a mildly competitive team this season. They're not at the top of the standings. They're not expected to win the division or anything. I mean, the Pirates and the Brewers are still 1/2 step ahead at the least.
Vinny and I like them to win the division.
The Cubs are right there. They've drafted well, they've developed well, they've traded well. Their international signings have seemingly all worked out.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, the White Sox are out here DFAing Yoelqui Cespedes. Oscar Colas can't even get a hit in AAA right now. the wheels are coming off this entire organization at the moment. You know, people are on Twitter calling for AAA players to be brought up to the majors. Just get them the opportunity. This team's not going to be competitive anyways. You might as well let these kids develop at the major league level. And somehow the Charlotte Knights have a worse run differential right now than the Chicago White Sox. Like your minor league teams are failing. This is so bad. Chris Getz in 1 year has seemingly turned out to be worse than Jerry Angelo ever was.
Is anyone really surprised by that, though? I'm not.
I mean, honestly, a little bit. The way that Jerry ran this team over the last several years, it seemed like a gopher, you know, just popping up and putting Sharpie on a board or something would have worked as well as whatever he was doing. Like, it almost seems like Chris Getz has to intentionally be doing it this badly in order for it to be going this badly. And yet it's RNG, it's happenstance, it's coincidence. It's guys are getting hurt. Guys are underperforming. You can't project that.
That is true. Everything you said, I agree with. Hey, you haven't seen me tweet or say a mean thing about the Cubs in 2 years. I mean, Nico Horner's better than Addison Russell. Dansby Swanson is better than Javier Baez. I'm not going to say Anthony Rizzo, even on the Yankees, is still a really good player. I think he's the one guy.
Nick Madrigal is a budding star for that team.
Yes. And, you know, their pitching they're not the 2016 Cubs on the mound yet. But, I mean, they're fun to watch. Hey, Seiya Suzuki's a better right fielder than Jason Hayward. It's not close. Bellinger.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. Bellinger would have been the second best player on the 2016 Cubs, only behind Bryant. Prime 2016 Bryant, MVP Bryant.
Shota has been elite to start the season.
You can argue Shota's been the second. I mean, there's a couple really good ones. Other than the start in Korea, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has been good in North America with the Dodgers. Other than that one bad start overseas where I think the final score was like 15-10, every starting pitcher sucked that, or every pitcher in general sucked that day. That's an anomaly. I don't care about that. But these Japanese
that's
pitchers
what happens when
you
play regular season games 3 weeks before the season starts.
That too.
Sure.
Not enough people talk about that either, Zim. They just look at, you know, because Glasnow pitched well the day before. Well, Glasnow is a seasoned vet in the MLB, and, you know, he had a good game. They're kind of lucky. They're kind of lucky in a lot of ways. But, yeah, I look at that Cubs team, and I'm like, this is so fun. I enjoy watching them. That's just the way it is.
I hate them so much.
Oh, of course.
I'm so mad about it.
Of course. Me too.
Hey,
like, they couldn't – the Dodgers couldn't even take them down out of 3 games this last weekend. You know, Shohei Ohtani, I actually have a notification on my phone. He just hit another bomb to extend their lead over the Minnesota Twins, oddly enough. But, I mean – that team, the Cubs, they could beat anybody. They could win 95 ball games this year. I'd be 0% surprised. I'm not going to be the one to argue it.
No, Northsiders are going to have a lot of fun again this season.
Yep, and we're just going to be watching from our little hole.
Yep. Hey, to be fair, they're having fun every year. They're just not watching the game.
That's fair.
Me and one of my buddies, Dylan, who I think, Joe, you might have met once.
I met Dylan.
Yeah, you've met Dylan. We created a
friend. With the 35th Street Red Hots.
That's right. We did. Me and him created. You guys should hop on the wagon. We decided we're going to have a friendship team this year. We're Baltimore Orioles fans when we're together. Only when we're together.
That's great.
Like we got to have a team that like doesn't completely suck ass. And we were hesitant on picking. We were going through the teams. We literally had like a text chain where we were like going through the teams, like who's going to be our friendship team this year. And on the side, he likes Philly because he's a Flyers fan in hockey, so he likes the Phillies. But I'm not getting on the Phillies bandwagon. And I've always liked the Red Sox Yankees thing, but he's not hopping on that. And I have the Braves too. But we needed a team that was like just us, not something that either one is bringing to the table from their solo lives. And so we came up with the Orioles. Team? Yeah, a friendship team. It's me and Dylan. Yep, exactly, just like that. He was kind of hesitant because Craig Kimbrell's on that team, and he's like, "Buddy, do I really wanna root for a team, like invest some of my mental health into Craig Kimbrell's abilities. And I'm like, we've been through it before, and the Orioles are damn fun. You get to watch Adley Rushman. So go O's. Let's go O's.
I got Adley as my fantasy catcher, so I don't mind when he does well.
Love that. So Brandon Stacy says, Joe, let's get a new friendship team. That's a great idea. Joe and Brandon, there's room on the Orioles friendship bandwagon. Orange is a nice color.
We'll find the new team. I don't know who it is. I kind of know what my team is, and Brandon probably won't like it. And Vinny knows his team choice already because I picked this team to win the World Series on Crosstown Crosstalk. And at least 2 weeks into the season, it doesn't look like a half bad pick. Zim, I don't know if you caught that episode or not, but my choice to win the World Series this year, prediction at the top of the year, was Vinny.
I'm drawing a blank on. You didn't say the Orioles, did you? You didn't say the Orioles. I forget who you said.
Same division, though.
You didn't say. Did you say the Yankees?
I picked the Yankees to win the World
Series.
Series.
Right. That's right. Okay. I love watching Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Oh, feed me all day with those two goons.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? Which is amazing considering they don't even have their top starter. But
so my whole life, not my whole life. Well, my whole life, I've been a White Sox fan. Obviously, that's from my dad, and then over the years, I learned to like the Red Sox. My all-time favorite podcast is Section 10. And that's to this day, I follow the Red Sox, and that'd be my number 2 team. Well, I had family that lived in Atlanta for a couple years, and I would go down there and hang out at the Battery. And so the Braves kind of became my de facto NL team. But outside of those 3, I couldn't have one of those 3 be my friendship team because it's not fair to Dylan. We had to come up with a team together. That's the point of the friendship team. So when they're not playing the Braves, Red Sox, or White Sox, the O's, I like the Yankee pick, though, Joe. I really do. If the Yankees won the World Series, that'd be awesome for baseball, a sport that desperately needs something.
I've been watching. Words are hard. As I mentioned on your show, Vin, I have MLB. I have MLB. We're just going off a deep end. I couldn't even get words out. It was like Steve Carell, Kelly Clarkson.
The way your face looked when you made that. I'm clipping that, putting it on Twitter. Oh my god.
Our viewers are like, what are we getting into?
God, that is so funny.
But as you know, I have MLB ticket, and I've been watching the Sox games, and then I'm like, it's just like watching paint dry. So I switched over. I've been watching some of the Yankee games, and I tell you what, they've been fun to watch.
Yes, they have. They certainly have. Oh my god, that was so awesome. That was so awesome. If Pedro Grifol made that noise, I'd want to punch him in the face. But you making that noise, I want to give you a hug. That was so funny.
It's just pure entertainment.
Oh my god.
I couldn't get any words out. I don't know what happened.
Your voice was eclipsed or something.
Did you ever see Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
I can't use the word, but I went full.
I'm catching what you're pitching.
You awesome. Make me happy.
God. That was the funniest thing. I think that's the funniest moment. That's the funniest moment in podcast history. I honestly think so.
Wow, that's quite an honor. Well, why don't we just start things off? Zim just asked the question, are we going to do segments? Why not? We'll just do whatever the hell we feel like. So let's rip Pedro apart. And this week's Pedro's pen. Oh, I'm still getting myself together, but has a manager had a worse week than Pedro Grifol has had the last week? I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible.
There was a week 2 years ago where TLR benched or he walked someone with a 1-2 count, and then Muncy hit the grand slam, and then he did something stupid with the pitching that same week. I forget exactly what it was. It might have been like leaving Kopech in too long while he was hurt. There was something along those lines, but Pedro's up there. It's definitely in the team photo.
Isn't that when I can't get words out today. I'm losing my mind. Continue.
I mean, we were just talking about whether or not this was the worst week in Pedro's tenure, or did you say in sports this season or last season or any season? It's up there. The guy's a moron.
Pretty bad.
He's not a bad dude, right? Like he's not. I don't think he's evil. I don't dislike him as a human being, but I would tell him right to his face. And get him on. I'll prove it to you. I would tell him right to his face that I don't agree with the way he runs his baseball team. I don't agree with the way he handles the press, and I don't believe he is fit to be the manager of the Chicago White Sox. And you know what else I would say?
Doesn't look like he cares.
Neither am I. Everything I'm saying to you applies to me too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this guy, his demeanor's so chill, and he doesn't act like a guy that wants to be there. I mean, even these interviews with the media, I mean, he just look at his face. He looks like he's like, is it time for me to go home yet?
He looks like a bench coach.
Looks like a guy who should be selling insurance, not coaching a baseball team.
I don't know if he is coaching a baseball team or not. That's
exactly.
I would not buy insurance from him.
Man, this guy had an interview during spring training this year. This is a month ago.
Yes, this is a month ago.
If anybody wants to read the article, it's from Scott Merkin on MLB.com. But he typed up a little interview that he had with Grifol, talking about how they were too conservative last year. They need to take extra bases. They need to steal bases. The White Sox have 2 stolen bases on the year, and they are, I believe,
the Shoemake.
I don't see. One was Shoemake and one was Luis Robert.
Shocking.
Here it is. They are second to last in the MLB in total bases. So they are not taking extra bases or stealing bases. 2 things that he point blank said he wants this team to do better. You know, he admitted to taking lessons from Tony La Russa over the offseason. You know, La Russa was with the club as an advisor. This team did not do well under Tony La Russa.
And they've done worse under Pedro.
That's just it. Was La Russa really coaching these guys up, or are they still trying to push the same coaching style and the team is rejecting it more and more? You know, it's a genuine point of discussion, I think.
And PZ points out if they only are on pace for 40 to 50 wins, does Pedro make it the whole season? And Aldo says Pedro won't make it to the All-Star break, which I agree with. I can see Pedro getting axed here within the next 2 months. Is that a hot take? Maybe.
I don't think it is. I would have said before the season there's a 0% chance he gets fired because we all expected them to be Crop, and they were going to be Crop whether he's the coach or not. So I didn't think they would move on from him. But I will say, I predicted them to have the worst season in franchise history. They've been even worse than I thought they were going to be. 1-9 is ridiculous. And so when you're that bad, nobody expects to be that bad. Where even the most diehard of diehards aren't even tuning into the games because it's just a guaranteed loss. They're playing the Guardians. Tristan McKenzie's on the mound. He's going to shove. I don't care if he missed most of last year with injury. He's Tristan McKenzie. He's awesome.
And look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. He shoved. There's no reason to think that he doesn't get fired anymore because they've been even worse than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't looking back at the specific games this week. I mean, he even took Crochet out when he was pitching well, and I get it. He said that he's because he threw more he threw longer than expected his last 2 starts, yada, yada, yada. But Crochet was shoving. I mean, I don't even remember what his pitch count was at. Do you guys happen to know off the top of your head the other day? But he only went 5. I think he could have gone at least one more.
Pitches. He
Yeah,
was like at 80-something pitches. No, he's off his rocker. I mean, all of a sudden we're worried about Garrett Crochet's pitch count. You pitched him in the COVID year when he clearly needed Tommy John, and then you didn't get the Tommy John the whole following season. I mean, all of a sudden you're worried about Garrett Crochet's development. Get out of here with that. Garrett Crochet is going to be on a new team in short order.
Yeah, I agree. That was my number one thing this week that drove me nuts. I mean, everything else was crap. I mean, the first 2 starts for Crochet were great. I mean, they were all great. He looked good, but imagine if he had a competent manager handling things. And by the way, I want to pull up another interview with Grifal, and look how uncomfortable he looks here.
Yeah, he just looks like he doesn't want to be there. I want to address this comment from Victor. Victor, we appreciate you coming on very, very much. I just
thanks
disagree.
for supporting us.
I disagree wholeheartedly that it's the same team from last year. There's no Jake Berger. There's no Yasmani Grandal. There's no Tim Anderson. There's no Lucas Giolito. There's no Lance Lynn. There's no Dylan Cease. There's no Mike Clevenger. Kopech's in the bullpen now. Crochet is back. You got Shoemake playing every day. DeJong is playing every day. The lineup is essentially entirely turned over except for like 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what's the deal with Clevenger? I know they signed him back. What's the deal with Clevenger?
It'll take a side.
Is he doing like a minor league stint, or
he's probably like ramping it up because you're signed late. You got to ramp it up before you get into games. I wouldn't shock me if he makes a start before the end of April, but it'll take a minute.
So, okay, that begs a question though, to follow up with your point, Vin, and that this roster really has turned over quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, is it possible that some of this is just the rust? Is Pedro really doing as good a job as he can, and this team just isn't meshing yet? They're not all on the same page. They don't have that chemistry there, because I'll tell you, it sure doesn't seem like they have a single leader in the clubhouse.
They do. They've got one. It came out after the loss yesterday. Garrett Crochet came out and said that the White Sox players need to get angry. It is the first time I've heard a White Sox player say that in I can't tell you how long. So for me, it's Crochet now, which is really sad because he was barely around last year.
It's true. Zim, I agree with your point totally. I think that's a better argument than saying, because a manager has the same team, why is it his fault? No, I think there is a lot of turnover, and that would be a good point. Like, it's not freaking Pedro's fault. He didn't build the team. It's more like the way he handles the media and like just kind of sucks at everything that bugs me. But you are right, 100%. Like he does have a new team, a rusty team, a team that's not built to win. And so like, is 1-9 the max for this team if Tony La Russa in his prime were the manager, or if you had, whoever in your opinion is the best manager in baseball? I really like Alex Cora. I'm a little biased though. Like, the best manager in the league managing the White Sox, would they be better than 1-9? I hardly disagree that it probably wouldn't be the exact same record. So that is true. But I mean, it's nasty. Ew.
Hearing that Crochet is the one that stepped up honestly kind of pisses me off.
Right?
All the guys that have been on this team, like
100%.
Tanner Banks, Michael Kopech, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Yohan Moncada, all these guys that have been on this team for a while. You've got a 24-year-old kid stepping up and saying, be better. You've got these other guys that have been in the league for a while, Tim Hill, Martin Maldonado, Paul DeYoung, all these guys.
Zim, as he also said, he's like, we have to get angry and start looking at ourselves and the way we play, myself included. So he didn't even exclude himself.
Myself included. This man who leads the team in nearly every single pitching category. Like,
you can argue if the White Sox were good, Garrett Crochet would be an early Cy Young candidate with how well he's playing.
I think that might be a little bit of a stretch.
Maybe.
Not much.
Maybe.
I mean, but yeah, the guy's averaging 10.5 Ks per 9. He's got 21 strikeouts and 3 starts. only 4 earned runs for a 2.0 ERA. He has their lone win on the mound. Like, what?
Oh,
Dude,
hold
you're
on.
doing fine, buddy.
Hold on 1 second, guys. We're talking about Garrett Crochet. He's been great.
Ball hit deep. Way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Yeah, he's the put it on the board player of the week. I think it's unanimous across the board.
Oh,
So-
easily.
Is it
There's
is it
no
BS
question about
though? A starting pitcher being a leader, like not a leader, but the leader, because they play once
kind of
every
is.
5 days. They play once every 5 days. When I think of like the great teams in the league, the pitchers, they're leaders on days that they pitch. You know, you don't see Garrett Cole isn't healthy. Garrett Cole isn't impacting the Yankees on days he's not pitching. He sits there quietly. You know,
Sure.
it seems
That-
like it's the same way. Like Mark
That's a
Burley-
modern problem, Vinny. That's
Maybe
a
that
modern
is too.
problem.
'Cause I was just going to say
Mark Burley
Burley,
was
I
very
remember.
much a leader. Absolutely.
Yes.
Roger Clemens, he was a leader. Pedro Martinez,
Was
that
he the
dude
same
put
last
the
night?
Red Sox on his shoulders, man.
Hell yeah.
And
That is
you can
correct.
go back even further and further and further than that. There's a reason why Robin Ventura wound up. I know it wasn't a pitcher, but there's a reason that he wound up as a manager, and it's because of the way that guys respected him, because like even the little guy could be the leader still is basically what I was trying to get at with all that. So this idea that only playing once every 5 days, like, to me, that's a cop out. That's a load of BS for these guys who want to be stars and not be teammates. I think it could be argued that Shohei Ohtani is a leader,
Oh yeah.
and granted, he's a different situation, but
I'm with you. You're right. It is more of a modern problem. And that also
you want a
begs-
modern example? Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta was a huge influence on that
Yes.
Cubs team that won the World Series
Yeah.
in 2016.
I
That's
don't
a pretty
think the Cubs
modern
win
example.
Crap. The Cubs don't win crap if they don't luck out into the Jake Arrieta trade. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And they had
So-
Lester, who also kind of
Yeah.
fit that old school FU mold.
That's it. That's it.
I'm with you. That's true. It is kind of a product of the time, but also I heard an argument that, and this could be a conversation, we don't even have to dive too deep into it right now, but starting pitchers are running backs a lot of the time these days. It's hard to pay them long term. The lack of sticky stuff, in my opinion, is the reason for all the Tommy Johns.
Sure.
You might remember when Tyler Glasnow got hurt against the White Sox, oddly enough, 2 years ago,
yeah.
and he
And
did that
immediately
interview.
complained about it.
Yeah, he talked about how he used sun lotion and rosin, and when you combine it, it's a nice sticky substance, so you don't have to grip the ball. You can grip the baseball more like an egg, and all of a sudden they get rid of the sticky stuff. People are blaming the pitch clock. I really don't blame the pitch clock. It's just my opinion. I don't think time is the issue. I think the grip of the baseball is the issue, and starting pitchers are, I'm not going to call them losers these days, but they're not as you
They're
need a good bullpen.
primadonnas.
Yeah, you need a bullpen, really.
They're dispensable, man. I mean, just look at it. That's a perfect analogy, Vin. They're running backs.
Yeah.
You
They're
can
not
find
starters,
someone
they're
else to jump.
openers.
And I'm not saying that every guy's got great stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But you can find a million guys, well, maybe not a million, but 1,000 guys with great stuff. And I don't know, two out of every 500 are probably going to be decent.
Yeah. I mean, I think out of the 10, I think we talked about this, of the 10 highest paid pitchers in the MLB, one of them made an opening day start this year. The rest were all either injured or stink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scherzer's hurt, Verlander's hurt,
DeGrom, Ohtani.
DeGrom is hurt, Otani's hurt.
Pitching Ohtani's hurt.
Garrett
Strasburg retired.
Strasburg retired. Exactly. Yeah. It's
Garrett
crazy,
Cole's
dude.
hurt.
Garrett Cole. Yep. That's a good one. Yeah.
Now Strider is hurt for the Braves. But I don't think he's a top paid pitcher.
So how's Blake Snell going to get the $300 million that he probably deserves for being a 2-time Cy Young winner? Deserves based on market of previous pitchers in his situation, not necessarily deserves on market going forward.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't. That's why he took the deal he did.
Exactly. And he'll probably go through the same motion next season.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you got to do in this situation anymore is get the money when you can get it and try again next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Got a great comment here from Brandon. I wish we can get back to true pitching versus throwing harder. Baseballs, UCLs, every other sports, ACLs.
That's true.
Well, and that's exactly it. A lot of guys think that they have to throw the nastiest pitch. They have to throw the fastest pitch. They got to get as much spin on the ball as possible. Greg Maddux is living proof that that's not true even a little bit. Be smarter than the guy at the plate and you'll win every time.
Mm-hmm. And PZ was kind of poking fun at me a little bit to tell us how crochet worries you. But like I am still worried though, because sometimes this guy likes to throw his gas, So I hope he can just pull it back a little bit, and I just don't want to see him get hurt again. So that's the only thing that worries me.
Yeah.
I'm so happy he's pitching great.
Well, and then, you got Kopech going out there and throwing 13 pitches and 12 of them are 99 miles an hour or faster. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, Kopech to me just screams like a guy that's got anger issues and he just wants to take it out every time he's on the mound.
I tell you, I think he could really be a hell of a closer for this team.
I do too.
So. I agree.
See how that shakes out. Hey, he's got their lone save on the season so far, so technically he is the closer.
Yeah, one win. They're batting 100, boys.
They're actually batting like
not
190,
quite.
Which
You're
is
right. They've played
honestly
10 games.
Terrible. Oh no, I meant their actual batting average.
I was simply going off. I was thinking they were 1 out of 10 games that they won, but it's not quite that. It's 1 for 9.
This team actually has like a 190 batting average though, which is like so embarrassingly bad.
Like, yeah. It's nasty.
So
screw the White Sox.
Why don't we take a brief look at the upcoming week ahead in this week's White Sox Weekly. It doesn't look pretty, guys. It didn't look pretty last week. But I can promise you it certainly doesn't get any prettier here. Of course, they lost today for the Guardians home opener. They get to play the Guardians again tomorrow. Soroka going up against Logan Allen. Logan Allen's looked dynamite through 2 starts, guys. It speaks for itself. 2-0, 2.31 ERA with 9 Ks through 2 starts. Cleveland has looked great. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. I didn't expect them to be this good out the gate. But here we are. And we're playing the teams with the C logos this week, guys, because then we finish off the series against Cleveland on Wednesday. Tanner Bibby's pitching against TBD. At this point, I don't know who that's going to be. Don't know. Let's see what we got. We got Tanner Banks going tomorrow. No, Tanner Banks went today. We got Soroka. I really don't even know who's going to pitch. I can't even guess.
Probably Feedy.
Yeah, probably Eric Feedy. Bibby's been good. He's done a lot of strikeouts. He's got 13 on the year. Guy's got some killer stuff too. So they got to watch out for that. This strikeout team might get struck out a lot on Wednesday. Then we got to go and play a 3-game set against the Reds. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Going up against Andrew Abbott. Of course, Nick Lodolo, who I believe that is his first Major League start, if I'm not. Well, first start of the season anyway. And the Reds are off to a mediocre start, but anything with more than 2 wins is a great start compared to the White Sox. So, going to be a rough one. I don't think there's going to be a lot of wins in our future this week either, boys.
No, the Reds are playing right now, and Ellie De La Cruz has an inside-the-park home run. I don't really see how the White Sox and their terrible team/defense are going to, handle him. That should be really interesting. I love the state of Ohio. Everyone knows that about me. The White Sox the Reds just ended. It's 10-8. They beat the Brewers. But I don't see how they beat either of these teams once.
We just got a question in the chat. Over under on wins for the week.
Half a win.
I'll give him the over on a half.
You'll take the over on a half just because
I'll take
baseball
the
teams
over on
win
a
every
half.
now and again.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it a little bit more challenging of a bet. So I'm gonna put the over and under at 1.5.
Under.
Let me look.
Like leading up to our next show,
Yeah, leading up to our next show.
I like the under. I say they get 1 max. Because maybe they beat the Reds in that second game and go 1-1 against them, but I don't see how they beat the Guardians either of these next 2 games.
I'm
Prove
gonna
me
take
wrong.
the
White
over.
Sox.
I'm gonna take the over. I think they're gonna have 2 wins.
Okay.
I'll take the over 1.5 wins for this week.
So do you think they beat the Guards these next 2 and then get swept by the Reds, or do you think they take 1 from each?
I think they take 1 from each. I think
each.
I think they beat the Guardians on the season the series finale on Wednesday. And then I think they take the one against the Reds on Saturday.
Yeah. Except I think they win tomorrow. I think Soroka pulls a win out of his ass. And I think that Crochet shuts down Cincinnati on Saturday.
So you're taking the over 2 then?
I'll take 2 with you, yeah.
I like
All
that.
right. So
I hope you guys are right.
Under.
I do.
Oh,
I really
such a difference. Such a difference.
No,
one
I mean,
win versus 2 for the week.
But I think two wins out of 5 games or 2 wins out of 4 games for the White Sox is like good. Like that is a big difference to me because of that fact. Like it's the difference between being a 200 win team and a 500 win team this week. And I don't know. I hate how down I am on them. I want to pick them to win every game. I'm seeing the Mets and the Braves are tied in the top of the 8th inning. If the Braves go on to win the World Series, and I look back on this season, and I'm like, the White Sox started the season 1-9 in their first 10, and the 1 win was against the Atlanta Braves, who are now 6-2. If they win today, they'll be 7-2. I mean, it's just weird how baseball works, and that's why it's fair to give the White Sox a handful of wins this week, because any team could beat any team randomly. But it's so ugly right now.
It's ugly for sure. I can't believe how nasty it's gotten.
Yep.
But here we are.
Problem is, like, from a developmental standpoint, I don't hate their lineup. It's just that they're so bad when you put them all together, you know? There's no spark.
It's true.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you nailed it on the head. It's just kind of scary how we all had high hopes and how they just shit all over them.
Yeah.
Well, we all knew this wasn't going to be a competitive season, right?
Well,
so you have to start looking. You have to start looking for silver linings, right? It's the only way you're going to get through this season. We're 10 games in. We are 1/16 of the way there. We have a long way to go, right? So what do you have to look at? Well, you have Yoel Moncada in a contract year, who's actually playing pretty well so far to start the year.
Yeah.
You have Brandon Shoemake, who really could be a good player for this team in the future. You know, he could be your future third baseman if Colson Montgomery works out. Corey Lee has played pretty well behind the plate. Like, he's second on the team in runs created. So I think that counts for something. Nicky Lopez hasn't been very good at the plate at all. His defense has been hit or miss.
Okay.
But again, somebody that you would like to see if you can keep around for the future. You know, Andrew Benintendi is a bust for this team. It sucks, but it is what it is. Dominic Fletcher, is he a potential solution in the outfield? Is he your 4th outfielder? You know,
I mean, in theory, yes, but we all know how that worked out last year at Colas.
Right. So, I mean, you wait and see. That's what you have to do with this team at this point. It's too early in the season to make any statements that are too specific. You can say they suck. You can say it's going to be a bad year. I think that's already safe to say. I think that would have been safe to say two weeks ago, 2 months ago. But again, you have to find your silver linings. You have to look at the fact that Maldonado's here to help develop these catching prospects they've got. DeYoung is here to help these young infielders that they've got. Yoan Moncada needs to prove if he's the guy or not. As far as I'm concerned, you can trade Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert at this point.
Can we talk about what he was doing that one game trying to tag at home? I still can't figure it out. That was the coach that sent him?
I mean, you would assume. I mean,
it's brutal. I mean, he was out by like
Oh, it was a good 20 feet. Yeah.
20 feet at least.
You're talking about Moncada, right?
Yeah.
Because I know Sheets had the same problem. And
Sheets did too, but I'm talking about the Moncada one specifically.
Moncada can actually run. There's a difference.
Yes, that's true. Moncada's a very good runner.
Moncada should be a 5-tool player. If he played for any other organization, he would be a 5-tool player.
Yes, 100%. And I also do think
maybe
he's been hurt a little bit in the last handful of years, right? People get on him for that. I do think that is a slightly overrated knock on Moncada. If you want to shit on him for not becoming the number one prospect that he was when we acquired him for Chris Sale, of course, by all means. I hate Moncada too for the most part these days. I loved him. I have his jersey. I mean, I like Moncada. I just wish he was better. But he has the third most games played for the Chicago White Sox in the last 3 years. Only was it 3 or 4 years? Only Tim Anderson and Abreu were ahead of him on the list. So, if he's playing that many games, he's not as hurt as much as people think, I think, sometimes.
His bat's just been a disappointment. There's nothing else to say besides that.
Exactly. Like a major disappointment.
Yeah, he didn't hit. He didn't hit for shit. He had, what was it, 2021 was the year he had a good year?
And 2019. 2019, he was very good. Like, he had 25 home runs. I think he got a couple MVP votes in 2019. And then 2020 was slow. He blamed COVID. And then in 2021,
saying that he's one of the least injured White Sox is like me going into a 5th grade classroom and saying I'm the 3rd smartest kid there.
Yeah, that's true. That is
better
true.
be.
That is true. I think you'd be the first smartest in a 5th grade class, Zim.
Well, I would better be, but
there might be that one nerd. There might be that one nerd who could go to
There's
college.
That one kid who he's mediocre at everything, but he crushes at geography, and the way the scores are weighted, it throws everything off.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. If the White Sox won 110 games this season, it would probably be the biggest shock I've ever seen in a sport world.
I think he's got it backwards.
Yeah, if they went 52 and 110, oh, I got a good joke. And then Robert turned off his PlayStation.
Yeah. I don't even know if anyone could win the World Series with the Sox in the show this year. With the current roster, it's possible.
Challenge accepted.
You can't make any changes to the roster because you know damn well that
I couldn't put it on rookie difficulty.
Fair enough.
That the mode where they lob every pitch right over the middle of the plate.
Love it.
It might still be hard. You got 60 overalls in the starting lineup and in the rotation.
I never understood. People want to play baseball video games, and everyone complains about the difficulty. I play it just so I could just have fun. If I want to have fun, just throw me some meatballs.
That's fair.
If I wanted to play a difficult game, I'd go play fast pitch baseball again.
Yeah.
Exactly. Play slow pitch softball for a reason, man.
That's so true. And if you're looking for a difficult video game, then why is it a baseball game you need? Go play The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's a difficult freaking video game.
Or go play Elden Ring.
Yeah, let's go play Elden Ring on the hardest difficulty.
Exactly.
That's what I want to do with my time.
Elden Ring on easy made me throw my controller. I can't even imagine.
I want to play video games to get angry, not to have a good time.
Halo 2 on Legendary.
How dare you enjoy video games?
You
What's wrong
idiot.
with you?
What do you do? It's just like if you play any of those golf games and like the groups are always like, "Oh, you're rookie. You're playing it on rookie mode." I'm like, I'm having fun. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, I'm trying to play.
Well, while we're there, we might as well make our picks to click for the week. I was the winner by default last week. Zim chose Luis Robert, who got hurt. Vinny chose no one and didn't get back to us, so we went with either Eloy or Benny Buttcheeks. Eloy got hurt, so I gave him Benny Buttcheeks. Again, awful. And I took Shoemake, so I win by default.
Benny Buttcheeks, who's slowly slipping into Chris Bryant territory.
Yeah, when we said Benny butt cheeks, it was supposed to be because he's got like awesome butt cheeks, not because he plays like butt cheeks.
Not because he plays, but he does.
He does. He plays like butt cheeks.
So let's dive in and take a look at this week's picks to click. I'm going to use my pick to click to pick the player in the White Sox who's been really the only good player besides Shoemake. I'm going to take Crochet. Why the heck not? I'll do it. I'll take a pitcher. I'll do it.
Okay.
Sign me up.
Cheater.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Is this going to be like our C season?
Kind of. Well, until Crochet gets hurt, but then I don't want to talk about that.
Oh,
all
it's
right.
coming.
Let's see. I don't know who I want to have to go next because it was kind of a bit of a
Let
wash.
Zim go next because I had two technically because I didn't look at my phone for a 2-hour period.
Yeah, how could you? How could you?
All right, who you got? Zim?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the team home run leader, Paul DeYoung. That is my pick to click this week.
Wow,
shortstop
nice.
Against shortstop, Joe.
I like it.
That is nice. That's a nice
Are you going to go with Benny Buttcheeks again, Vinny?
No, I will take Benny Buttcheeks again this season because I hate that he sucks. That's by far the White Sox player that I hate that they suck the most.
Yeah.
Either him or Moncada. Because when Benny Buttcheeks was at Arkansas, I wanted the White Sox to draft him so bad, and they missed him by one pick. The Red Sox took him one selection before. And then we ended up with that Vanderbilt idiot, the guy with the glasses. What was his name?
Oh, the pitcher that could never get it going.
Yeah. What the hell was his name? The Vanderbilt had this sick rotation. They won the national championship. It was Walker Buehler and this guy, and we got the stinky one. And the Dodgers got Walker Buehler, which is probably more about the White Sox. White Sox Vanderbilt draft pick.
Noah Schultz.
No. Carson Fulmer. Noah Schultz is good, hopefully.
Carson Fulmer. That's
Carson Fulmer. Noah Schultz, he's the number one prospect. We hope he's good. Yeah, Carson Fulmer. Benny Buttcheeks went, and then we ended up with Fulmer, and the Dodgers got freaking Buehler. Fulmer was amazing at Vanderbilt. Amazing. I liked the pick
He was
when it happened.
Great at like AA too.
Yes. I loved the pick when they made it because they couldn't get Benny, but it's been downhill with the White Sox, so I can't pick him right now. I'm going to pick Shoemake, Braden Shoemake. He's been having an okay start. He has potential to be a pretty good player for the White Sox over time. That's who I'm going with this week. Broken foot incoming.
Naturally, by tomorrow. He'll do it like still doing something stupid, like he dropped a Gatorade cooler on his foot or something.
Yeah, or like he twisted his ankle in the shower. But it wasn't his home shower. It was the clubhouse shower picking up Yohan Moncada's soap.
Now he's gonna get his foot stuck in between the platform and the L while getting on.
Oh yeah.
Since the White Sox don't pay him enough to like get a car or something.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a disaster personnel for sure.
Absolutely. Nice.
So recap: Zim going with Paul DeYoung. I'm going with Garrett Crochet, and Vinny is going with Shoemake. We will report back next week. on all of our findings. Do we have a guaranteed take this week, guys? Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Like,
I guarantee the White Sox will lose more games than they win.
here, hang on. That's not the right one. Here it is.
Wow. So yeah, I brought up this what if to you guys in our chat, and I wanted to just like touch on it at least a little bit. We all saw the news that Spencer Strider is down for the season.
But they put him on the 15-day IL, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it's all technicalities anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that the White Sox already traded Dylan Cease. Really, should they have?
No.
Could they have netted a bigger return from the Atlanta Braves, a current team that is expected to make the World Series as of this moment, than the package they got in return from the San Diego Padres?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all said it after the trade happened that we felt underwhelmed with what we got in return, and that we could have either waited till the deadline or waited until a team was in need because guys get injured. And it didn't even take 2 weeks into the season. So it stinks. Yeah. Chris Getz just, I hate to say it this way, but he blew his load. He was too excited. And he had that wet dream. Painful one.
Yep. And you could kind of see the trend. I touched on it earlier. Guys are getting Tommy John at an alarming rate. You could kind of predict that someone would have needed a starter, and you could have maximized on that. On the contrary, Dylan Cease has made every start of his MLB career. How sustainable is that? Is he next? Then he's worth nothing.
Well, clearly the White Sox must have had some vibes that he was going to get hurt or something. Because I don't see any other reason you rush the trade.
Yeah,
because they're stupid.
Nailed it.
That's literally it. Like,
yeah.
And that's what it's, again, this is what I alluded to at the beginning of the show. You can't be this bad without like actively trying to be this bad. And I think that's part of it is what did Chris Getz say when they interviewed him at the beginning of the season? You know, what was his ambition? Seemed like he kind of made it.
He wants to make this team competitive, is what he said.
No, he said he's excited to be a general manager. He's so happy to be the general manager of the White Sox. He's the general manager of the White Sox. Oh, yay. Kind of seems like that was the end goal for him. Kind of seems like he doesn't give a shit about winning a World Series. Kind of seems like he's happy to be getting the paycheck he's getting. And that's about the end of it.
Whew. Unless Jerry's got some motive for having them suck. I can't figure out what that would be because there's no ticket sales. It's not going to encourage people to want, it's not going to make them want to move.
Jerry doesn't care. He doesn't care. I mean, he's at a point in his life and his career where he's he's cool with where they're at. He's accomplished what he wants to accomplish. The only reason the stadium stuff is a big deal is because he thinks it'll placate people while the team on the field is absolute garbage. Like, it's all just a diversion technique.
Do you know he's the winningest owner? He's the winningest owner in sports history.
That's got a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Bulls have a big part of that, I'm sure.
You play 160
player.
You play 160 games a year. You own a team for 40 years. What?
Yeah.
He's going to have a few more wins than George Hallis. you know?
For sure.
By 12 games a year.
I will say by winningest, I don't know his actual record. Number of championships is what I used for that statistic.
Oh, well, come on.
Yeah.
Every single one of those was an accident. Every single one.
That is so true. That is so true. Every single one of them. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon was a Hall of Famer, but then who the hell went number 2? and Michael Jordan went number 3 to the Bulls. That is just the stupidest thing I've ever. That's dumber than Mahomes going 10th.
It was Sam Bowie, by the way.
He went number 2 between Olajuwon and Jordan. Okay, Sam Bowie. There's a reason I don't know his name. And so yeah, you lucked into that, and then no one thought the White Sox were going to win the World Series in 2005. Not even the White Sox.
Yeah. No, he never. I mean, even the championships they won with Jordan. The only reason they won those is because Jerry did a favor to his buddy and gave him a job as a general manager.
That's true too.
They weren't supposed to be good. Michael Jordan was already putting asses in seats. He didn't care about winning.
That's true. It took a long time. It's not like Jordan stepped into the league.
Exactly. If he cared about winning, he would have hired a general manager, not his
Jerry Krause. Buddy. Jerry Krause doesn't get enough love. He did a lot of work for that team.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. People who rip on Jerry Krause.
Those people suck. The people that booed his wife on opening day for the Bulls.
Yeah. You don't have. I'm sure he wasn't the most outstanding human of all time away from the basketball court. But Jesus Christ, he's been dead for 20 years, and he, his wife is sitting there who's still around, and you boo. What a joke.
The guy who brought 6 championships to the city of Chicago. Go sit on a stiff one.
Exactly.
Yep. That's right. The guy who brought Phil Jackson to Chicago.
Yeah, you're on a roll today. Go sit on a stiff one. You've been hanging out with Mike North too much.
Yeah, probably. I just got back from Vegas, so
that's true too.
Like 7 championships, nothing to scoff at. The guy's got almost as many rings as he has fingers. Like, it's good for him. It really is. But at the same time, like, he never once gave a shit about any of those teams, about any of those players, about any of those rings. All he cared about was the commas in his bank account.
That's true.
Yes.
He's a businessman.
And he knows at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the product on the field, and it has everything to do with the revenue generated by it. And he's still generating revenue, and that's what matters. It's why this whole stadium thing is a nightmare right now, because he won't just pay the damn money to build the stadium, because he understands that that's not profitable. You have to get the city to pay for a bunch of it, and that's how you make your money back. And it's like, man, you're 88 years old. You have more money than any of these fans for this team could ever imagine. And
let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with Guaranteed Rate Field. I just want to put it out there.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with the stadium. That's the other thing. It's not even.
It's
sorry,
great.
it's just over 30 years old. The house I'm sitting in right now is twice as old as that, and I don't think it needs to be torn down and rebuilt.
And people forget that they refurbished it after the 2005 World Series win.
Yes. Yes.
The seats became.
And they're doing work on it every offseason to improve the stadium too.
Yeah, I like Guaranteed Rate Field a lot. I do wonder if Jerry knows that you don't take your money with you to the afterlife. I do think it's possible he thinks he gets to keep it.
If he knew that, he would have sold the team already.
That's true.
The man's got more than enough money for multiple lifetimes.
100%. I mean, yeah, he's got a claim for the worst owner in sports, because Bulls fans feel the same way. I had a discussion with a friend of mine who doesn't give 2 craps less about the White Sox, but he's a diehard Bulls fan.
We're going to talk about another accidental team. I mean, Kobe White is an accidental superstar for those guys.
Yep.
Zach LaVine is supposed to be their star.
Yep. And they wanted Williams to be a star. He was the number 4 pick. Oh, yeah, LaVine's a joke.
Zach LaVine might be the single reason I don't watch the NBA anymore.
Yep.
That guy is the most overrated player I think I've ever watched. He can dunk a basketball real good, so people think he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And real quick, guys, I gotta bring up. We talk about the product on the field, but Brooks Boyer and squad are doing a great job with the handouts and in-stadium promotions. The White Sox this week announced yet another in-stadium post-game concert, and this one's a big name for country music fans. Got Jordan Davis, famous for Buy Dirt with Luke Bryan, and of course, Next Thing You Know is his other big hit. Really big rising name in country music. After the game, June 28th. Really, really big get for them. I'm actually kind of stunned that they were able to get someone as big as Jordan Davis.
Yeah. I tell you, when I think Chicago, I think country music. That's for sure. So
absolutely, we have the number one country music scene in the world. Our country music scene is so big, people travel to Wisconsin to hear the biggest country music concert going.
Know your audience. I know that you're excited about it, Joe. It is a big deal. It really is. It will put asses in seats.
It's a big name. It's surprising.
It is a big name.
Give me 10 White Sox fans that live in the city of Chicago in one room and tell me how many of them listen to that man's music.
I would say 5 out of 10.
No way. Absolutely. Absolutely not. No.
We should collab with the 108 guys to get to the bottom of this.
How do I put this? How do I say this without coming off politically incorrect? The White Sox have a certain type of fan that comes from a specific demographic that is particular to the city of Chicago.
All right, and Zim, we'll talk to you later. We'll see you next week. I don't feel like getting canceled this week.
I tell you what, when the White Sox moved to Nashville, I think that is a great get for them. I'm glad they've established a working relationship so that in 5 to 7 years, when they're playing down in Nashville, they'll be able to continue to host these country music festivals after the games and bring more fans in.
Who will be your favorite team when the White Sox move to Nashville? The Rockies? Or will you follow them to Nashville?
I would honestly really have to think about it. I might just fully jump ship and go to the Marlins. But I'm also thinking about geographically where I expect myself to be and what'll be nearby. At that point in time, the Royals will be the nearest team to me, but I can't justify rooting for the Royals. The Cubs would be the next closest team, and I'm not going to root for the Cubs. And then the Rockies. And I mean, I've lived in Denver for how many years, and I still can barely bring myself to root for the Rockies because there's so, I mean, you think that the White Sox are a poorly run organization.
Well, I think the answer for Zim, I think Zim's answer is wherever Jake Berger signs in 5 years.
That's just kind of it. Honestly, I've grown so fond of him as a player. I followed this guy from college into the minors, into the majors. He came on our show a couple times. And so there's that acquaintanceship we have with him now that just grew that fandom even more. So honestly, I follow players more than I follow teams if it's not the team that I actively root for. So, it's why I'll be rooting for Pittsburgh next year. And I want to specify that is because of Russell Wilson just as much as Justin Fields. I've always been a Russell Wilson fan. I rooted for Seattle very hard when he was there.
Hall of Fame.
But yeah, absolutely. It's why I root for Miami this season. It's why in hockey, I've rooted for the Avalanche the last couple of seasons because Nate McKinnon is awesome to watch.
Love the Nate dog.
Can we talk about, Vinny, how the Golden Knights are getting hot at the right time?
They are, and they're getting Tomas Hertl back in the lineup today after making the big trade with the San Jose Sharks at the trade deadline, but he was a little hurt. Kind of a stunning trade. He's playing for the Golden Knights tonight, so that's going to be a sight. They're doing another game against Vancouver, just this time it's in Vancouver. So interesting matchup. Joe, really quick though, I want to hear your answer. Would you jump ship to the Nashville team or would you pick a new squad?
I don't know the answer yet. I've been a White Sox born and bred kind of guy, But if they move, there's no way they can keep the name, right? They have to change it to be something Nashville.
I would think
so. If they keep the
Nashville
name,
Sounders or something like that.
if they keep the name, I will likely stay a Sox fan. If they change the name, I'll jump ship, and I don't know where I'll go.
Interesting. I think if they moved, there's a chance they'd come back just as a new franchise, like an expansion team. And they would be the White Sox, kind of like what happened in Winnipeg with the Jets. The Winnipeg Jets became the Arizona Coyotes, and then the Atlanta Thrashers moved back up to Winnipeg, and they took the name the Jets. I do think something similar would happen if Jerry moved the team because the White Sox are too much of a brand for MLB to lose permanently.
Field of Dreams,
Yeah, Field of Dreams, second most popular hat, only behind the Yankees. I mean, it's a brand. It is a brand, whether people want to admit it or not. The logo is one of the best. If they move to Nashville, though, this franchise, and they change the name, I would hate them. I would despise them. I would root for the Cubs over them.
So I just looked this up because I was curious about some Tennessee state history with the Negro Leagues and everything, because there's been a big push to incorporate the Negro Leagues more, to have them incorporated into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Their stats are now verified by MLB and everything like that. So this whole interlacing of the two leagues, I was thinking, well, hey, if they moved to Nashville, they'd probably change the name to something representative of the Negro Leagues. Well, there was a Negro League team known as the Nashville White Sox. So they possibly would keep the name.
Wow. Interesting.
Look at that.
This is all like
they
a
have
quick
some of the best
30-second Google search. Yeah.
They have some of the best jerseys I've ever seen. They're some of the coolest jerseys you'll ever see. I love when they wear them.
I went to a game 2 or 3 years ago at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. And outside of that stadium, they have the Negro Leagues Museum. It's awesome. Highly recommend you check it out.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I would just have to become a Red Sox fan. It's just the way I think I'd go. That's a very good history lesson there, Zim. I'm gonna look more into this too. I want to buy.
Yeah,
they have a jersey with all the Negro League logos on it, and I want to buy that too and wear it around.
Yeah, there's not really anything. There's a short blurb here on Wikipedia. Nashville White Sox were a Negro League baseball team that played as charter members of the Negro Southern League in 1920.
Hell yeah!
Maybe that's what they were talking about back when Jerry met with them.
It's possible. But yeah, that's about it. There's nothing else really more about that. It looks like they became the Elite Giants the next year, the Stars later, and the Black Vols and the Nashville Cubs.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So they were the Nashville Cubs and the Nashville White Sox.
Well, the Chicago Cubs were the Chicago White Stockings, so
that is true. That is
White
true.
Sox
I always had
turn into Cubs, I guess.
I always had like a love for the Kansas City Monarchs just because that's what Kenny wore. Yeah, Satchel Paige, and then Kenny wore the hat in the Sandlot.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only African American player in the Sandlot, and he wore the KC Monarchs hat. Love that. Just love that tribute that the directors of that movie added in there.
Yeah, and you guys talked about how iconic the White Sox logo is and its popular hat.
Yeah.
When I tell you, when I was in Vegas, I had to see 20, 30 White Sox hats at least.
I believe it.
Dude, I went to the mall this weekend and I saw two. And I looked at the people wearing the hats and I was like, that's a fashion thing. That you're not a White Sox fan.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like that's a brand. Like, why would the MLB want that to go away? People who don't give a flying poop about baseball are buying this hat. And
right.
Few other teams can say it. I think I see a lot of Yankee hats, a lot of Yankee hats in the wild. Dodgers. I do think you see Cubs a lot. You see a lot of Cubs hats here and there across the country. The Red Sox.
Yeah, but a lot of those Cubs hats, I think, are people who actually grew up to be fans because of the WGN
Yep, that's true.
national coverage.
Yep.
You know, what was that, 40, 50 years ago at this point? But yeah.
Yeah. A Cubs hat doesn't match with every outfit the way a Yankee hat or a White Sox hat does. So it is less of a fashion statement. You are correct. Yeah, look at Joe. He just popped it on with his random sweatshirt that he's wearing, and it just looks beautiful.
It's a good look.
At the top of the show, I told Vinny I was so discouraged by the play, I didn't want to put on the White Sox hat today. So it was right here. I got this new sick trucker hat that was on sale on Fanatics. I had to grab it. So
You know, they got a Father's Day hat giveaway this year that looks pretty sweet.
the White Sox do?
Yeah.
I like
No,
the
maybe it
Father's
was the
Day.
Rockies now that I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure it was the Rockies. I got
That
my
makes
teams
sense.
mixed up. Looking at too many
MLB
promotions.
The MLB, that is nice, Joe. The MLB does do good with the Mother's Day and Father's Day. The pink and the baby blue, I love it. That is really cool.
I
It's
just
great.
wish they made a baby blue hat that was not entirely blue. Like maybe I could actually
Mhm.
wear it. In
Like a
some other
black
thing.
hat with like the baby blue logo or a pink logo on it instead
Yes,
of like a
that's
pink
all I
hat
want.
with the black logo or a white logo. Yeah.
And
Have
I
you
would
guys ever
absolutely
been to the
buy it.
ballpark for a Mother's Day or a Father's Day game?
I have
I
not.
worked games there back in the day when I was still working
Okay.
at the ballpark.
So, Joe, you know what it's like. I mean, it's cool because the environment at the ballpark really changes and everything. Like,
It's
I
a
actually
vibe.
really enjoy it. I went to a Father's Day game for the White Sox several years ago, and it was a really good time.
Yeah, they always have a nice little giveaway. Mother's Day, they usually have like a nice little bag for mom or something, and Father's Day is usually either a hat or something cool. You know, I have to look to see if they're even home on those days this year, but the White Sox always outdo themselves. We've reached the hour and 20 point of the show. This is the part where we usually start to wrap it up. We talked about how craptacular the White Sox are. That's the name of the show this week. So by all means, run with it. We sure did. Zim, Vin, anything non-baseball related you guys want to talk about? I know we got the NFL draft not that far off.
Yeah, getting excited for that. The Bears had some more visits today with Xavier Worthy and Marvin Harrison Jr. So doing their due diligence on some wide receivers, it looks like.
For sure.
Caleb Williams canceled all of his other top 30 visits. So
yeah, I mean, it's a done deal. He's coming to Chicago.
Yeah.
Unless a gas mask video comes out, I would say so.
That has happened before.
Oh, yeah. And Brandon points out the second half of the NCAA championship.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that's going on. What's the score? Anybody know?
At halftime, UCLA was winning 35, or not UCLA. UConn was winning 35-30 at last check.
Nice.
I am 100% convinced that if you outlawed sports gambling again, and I mean like outlawed it, even in Vegas, nobody would give a shit about college basketball.
Yeah. Yep, that is correct.
I'm sorry, you can't get me to like that sport. Like, I don't like basketball as it is. Making it college basketball, 36-30 at halftime, I'm good.
The only thing I'm interested in, last year, Purdue became the second 1 seed to ever lose to a 16 seed in the opening round. And the first time it happened, West Virginia came around the next year and won the whole thing. This time around, Purdue came back the next year and got to the championship. We'll see if history can repeat itself.
How tall is their center? 7'6" or something?
7'6". Yep. You're talking about Purdue?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe he's projected to be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. No, I'm incorrect. He's projected to be
top 5, right? Number 3.
Let me see.
I don't know enough about basketball.
You're talking about the guy on Purdue, right?
Yeah.
Zach Edey. Yeah. So he's actually on this mock draft I'm looking at, supposed to be the first pick of the second round. I thought he was way higher than that. But he's the tallest player in the draft, and it's not close. A lot of UConn in the top 10, though. 2 UConn
Shocking.
players. Yeah.
Zim, you got anything new? You got photography stuff going on? You got anything new? Video games? What's up?
Yeah. I've been focusing a lot on photography lately. Shot a really cool concert last night for a band called Set It Off. If you listen to rock alternative radio, either terrestrial or satellite, you have heard their music. They are charting right now, which is really, really cool. I didn't know that before shooting them. I've known them for a long time. I've known of them, I should say. I don't actually know them. I've known of them for a very long time, though. So learning that about them last night while I was getting the opportunity to photograph their show was super, super cool. And yeah, I've just been grinding my butt off on the photography thing lately. Video games kind of taking a back seat. I finally learned what Helldivers 2 is today. And it looks like a pretty cool game. No, I haven't gotten it. I actually just picked up, my buddy and I built him a gaming PC a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
So I picked up Baldur's Gate 3 for us to play together, and we've barely touched it.
Wow. Well, Helldivers, I don't have it. Helldivers 2, but it does look awesome, and it's amazing. It's only $40.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a great game. It looks like a lot of fun. If you're into the shoot 'em up kind of games. It felt a lot like Destiny in a regard, but like mixed with Call of Duty. So I think that's like
aliens,
the best. Yeah, against aliens and like giant bugs and robots and shit like that. And you can change your loadouts and customize your characters and everything like that, which is a little where I get the Destiny vibes from. You're playing missions with fire teams and everything rather than a player versus player sort of environment. So
sweet deal, man.
Yeah. No, again, it looks like a really cool game, but yeah, between photography and I think I shared with you guys last season, I've been going back to school, finishing up my degree, and that's just taking up a lot of time right now because I'm right in that home stretch. I am like a month and a half away from graduation. So
rock on, baby.
Very cool.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully nothing goes sideways in the next few weeks, but I did everything today, and I'm on pace. I need to turn in like 3, 4, like 7 more assignments, and I'm guaranteed to graduate.
There you go, buddy.
Oh yeah.
So
that's great achievement, dude. Love it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
But,
yeah, I know, Vinny, we were talking about it before the show with my photography and stuff. I've not really gotten into the sports photography as much as I would like to. Those lenses they cost an arm and a leg. And of course you can rent them, but I don't have the nicest camera itself to put them on. And it's like putting the cheapest tires on a Ferrari,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point,
For sure. That makes sense.
Using a Ferrari to do yard work,
Yeah.
Same difference, but yeah, you want them to complement each other,
Absolutely.
You get out of your $50,000, or you get out of your $500,000 car wearing a $50,000 outfit,
Yeah.
I don't have an outfit. I don't think my whole wardrobe costs $50,000.
Right, dude. So, but yeah, it's a fun pairing. I would love to. I really would. I would love to go out to a baseball. In fact, we actually just bought tickets to a baseball game in a few weeks, and I'll probably bring my camera. We'll see if I get any pictures or not from it. But yeah, we bought our tickets for the first game of the season. We're gonna go see Julio Rodriguez and the Mariners play against the Colorado Rockies. Meet the mascots and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sounds like it said Dinger, the Rockies mascot's going to be there. They said there'd be some other mascots there, so I don't know if that means like the Nuggets mascot will be there. He's really popular around town. The Miles, the Broncos mascot, is really popular as well. I don't think the Avalanche have a mascot.
I don't think so either, actually.
But yeah, the Nuggets and the Broncos mascots are really popular out here. So wouldn't be surprised to see both of them there. Have Have you guys gotten a chance to go to a game yet this year?
I've been to Wrigley
Negative
once,
Ghost Rider.
not to the Cell yet.
Okay.
I'm going May 10th for Harry Potter night.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, I was going to go to the first game of the Brave series where Reynaldo Lopez pitched, and then
That would have been
decided, yeah, we were going to buy tickets, and then it was planned that I was going. I was good with work and everything, and then it was 30 degrees and raining, and the game wasn't called off. So we put the X on that, and we both blocked off work on July 27th to go to the makeup game of the other Braves game, so we could see the Braves when they're in town too. So
That'll be cool,
I think
man.
it's July 27th. Yeah, so I had a Sox game on the dock, but weather took it away from me.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, I know you, man. You run into tickets all the time too, so I'm sure you'll be at one before too long.
Yeah, I mean, I am less motivated to give my money.
I get it.
But
Yeah.
That's why
I'll
buy them
still love
secondhand. That way,
baseball.
the money's already there.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it too. They're like $6
So.
on SeatGeek too.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's nice.
crazy.
Freaking Rockies tickets, man. The Rockies are just as bad, and the tickets are still $50 a piece. It's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a whole other problem with Colorado right now. But
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So to end this show with some fire, no pun intended. My wife and I, we had a great time in Vegas. On our last night, we went to this restaurant in the Venetian called Chica. It's like a Latin fusion kind of place with Miami vibes and whatever. And their famous dessert is like this. It's like a lava cake. It comes inside of a skull, and then they set it on fire, and that melts the skull away, and the cake's inside. I may or may not have a video for us to watch of it because I just thought it was kind of cool. So here it is. The I don't even know what to call it. The flaming skull from Chica, Las Vegas.
You're welcome. That's so cool. Very original flavor.
That's sick, dude. I love the other people at the other tables always just locked in on your food.
they
too.
turn around and they're like, "Oh crap! Look what's going on!"
Well,
Like
I don't know if you
that
heard
is a
the
must-see event.
I don't know if you heard the lady next to me. She goes, "Thanks for the show." I'm like,
Yeah,
no
That's
problem."
funny. That's funny.
So had a great time out there. It was a good time. So highly recommend. Nice to get a little getaway, and also good to be back. The slots were ice cold, but the craps tables were hot. So next time I'll stick to the craps tables.
I mean, isn't that how it always goes?
Yeah,
Those slot
it is.
machines are 100% just there to take your money.
You think that I would be wise to that by now, but the temptation just sometimes is too great.
It's just slots, man.
And
They're
and
fun
Zim,
because they're easy and lazy, but man, they will beat you every single time.
most likely, unless you hit it just right. And Vin, Zim and I play this slots app. It's called My Vegas Slots, and you can get real points and use it for stuff in Vegas.
I play it.
You do?
Yeah. I haven't
shit.
gotten to Vegas yet, and Joe, I know you want to go with me, and we will make that happen in life
Someday.
like soon. I had some stuff I had to get through this year, but I fully plan on making that happen. And yeah, I have built up some points, and if I know, like if I get a Vegas trip, like if we get a date confirmed, locked in, I'll play it every damn day.
There you go.
Yeah,
and Brandon is
That app is
completely
sick.
accurate with this comment. That's how I came up with this week's episode's name, Craptacular.
Love that.
But yes, we will definitely do that, and we'll catch a hockey game or something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I brought that up, Zim, is I texted you the other day. I got really annoyed because I didn't read the fine print on some of these things, and there's free play. You can use your points.
It's free stuff, Joe. There's always fine print, man.
It's like this long. It was the last thing at the very bottom. But if you redeem the points for free play, you can get free play at casinos. I did it at the Bellagio because I'm staying at the Cosmo, which was just acquired by MGM, but is not yet on the My Slots app. I went to go redeem it, and they're like, "Oh, you have to be staying at the hotel to redeem it." So, at least I was able to get my buy two for the price of one Bellagio buffet, which was excellent, I might say.
I was gonna ask if you got like any food or anything redeemed. Like, to me, that would be like half of it for me. Like, if I got a night at a hotel or maybe a dinner for free, like obviously you're gonna go and gamble when you're in Vegas, but like if you got one of your nights at the hotel or one of your meals taken care of, I feel like that would be like half the battle.
Yeah, I mean, I got a $55 buffet for free for my wife, so that was a win.
Yeah, what a deal! That's a sick deal. I'm sure the food didn't suck.
And the food was legit in there. They had like this amazing poke, and they had crab legs, and they actually had oysters, like legit, like shucked oysters. I'm like, okay,
yeah. I mean, it's the right time of year for that.
I spent my time there, so
I don't blame you. It's the Bellagio. They better have a good buffet.
Yeah, it's a brunch buffet, so they always have breakfast and lunch.
Nice.
But anyway, it was a great time. Happy to be back, but it was a great time. Yeah. I guess we've reached the shout-outs portion, and I'll just lead things off that always grateful for my beautiful wife. We had a wonderful getaway together for 3 days to Vegas. We caught a killer Golden Knights game against the Canucks. They won 6-3. It was just goals upon goals upon goals.
They're keeping it going right now, too. It's 2-2 at the end of the first period.
Wow. All right. Love to see that. So that was a heck of a good time. Saw Absinthe, which is probably the best show in Vegas. Love that. We saw a newer show that's run by the same people as Absinthe at the Venetian. It's called Atomic Saloon. Bit of a letdown. It was kind of but, the other two were solid home runs, and we had a bunch of good restaurants. Vinny, they opened a Whataburger on the Strip. I don't know if you're familiar with Whataburger.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I haven't had it, but
I've never had one, and it was unbelievable.
Hell yeah, cool.
So that was cool.
Vegas has become a cool hub for that kind of stuff, where it's like it's a little food hub where you can get some of those exclusive places, but it's close enough to all of them where they truck them all in there.
Yeah. The Whataburger was legit. I was very impressed with it. Anyway, long way of saying I love my wife. I had a great trip with her. It was great to come back. Of course, when we got home to see our daughter, Audrey, who's just the best thing ever, and our Great Dane Maverick. Life is good. Huge shout out to them. And I'll pass it off to Vincenzo for his shout outs.
Vincenzo always shouts out Katie. I love you. Thank you for everything. I love what we do together and the life we live. It's great. I also want to give a shout out to Joey Parisi, whose birthday is tomorrow. He turns 27 for the first time ever.
The pizza man,
the baker. Yeah. Happy birthday,
candlestick
Joey.
maker.
Yeah.
Joey, happy birthday. Exactly. Don't even think about joining any clubs this year.
Yes. Please don't join any clubs this year. Please. That would, yeah, that's funny, Zim, though. That was something I thought about when I turned 28. I was like, not part of that club.
Not that my name would be on the list anyway, but
Exactly. On the Wikipedia, Steven Zim Zimmerman, South Burbs Hitmen co-host. Also I'll shout out the Chicago Bears. I'm excited to cover the 2024 NFL draft in a couple weeks for USA Today's Bears Wire. Make sure you read along. It's been fun. And Chicago Hockey Now covering the Blackhawks. Go read it. Go read it. Go read it.
Yes, do it. Great stuff, Vin. What do you got, Zim?
Big shout out to the family. Couldn't do anything that I do without all of them. Got a lot of cool things coming up around the family, and just excited to have the people to do it with, Big shout out to the guys that set it off. Thank you for letting me shoot the show yesterday. It was super cool. experience I've never had before. You know, I've been in bands and around music forever, but saw it from a totally different perspective on a stage that, you know, I've been to that venue in every other capacity before, but not as a photographer. And it was super, super cool and made me feel very legitimized in what I've been doing with it. So even though I'm just doing it for fun, it's something that's just a passion project for me. It meant the world, and I'm gonna keep this forever. That's for sure. It's my press pass from the show. So
That's so cool, dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very good, Zim.
Congrats,
big
man.
shout out,
Love this.
big shout out to my wife for taking care of the kids so that I could do that.
Love that.
Nothing like seeing the fruits of your labor and hard work kind of coming together. So
Yeah,
congrats, buddy.
Tell you, this journey into photography is something that's been a long time coming. You know, I started going to concerts almost 20 years ago now. I've been playing music for 15 years. And then just recently in the last year, picked up a camera and saw this whole thing from a totally new angle. And it's turned into a real passion. It's something where I compare my work by, you know, side by side with my peers, and I truly feel equal for a change rather than feeling like I'm constantly reaching or trying to catch up or trying to, you know, if only I had the same gear they did, I could do the same thing. You know, it's a lot of people who've played sports, I know that feeling. A lot of people who have struggled in their careers have had that feeling in one way, shape, or form. When you find something you're passionate about, though, it's worth pursuing regardless of how you feel. And it's been so cool over the last 24 hours to go through this experience. So yeah.
Love that.
Congratulations, man. Empowering stuff to close out this episode. Hopefully more empowering than the week ahead of White Sox baseball, but we will find out here shortly. Again, thank you everyone for hanging out with us all night. Quick shout out to the chat room, everyone that was in there. We had some active folks in there all night between Aldo, PZ, Victor Perez, Brandon Stacy, my dad. Who else do we see here? And there's just so many more. Julius, and of course, Vinny's mom. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Can't do this without you guys. And same thing could be said, Vinnie Zim. I couldn't do this without you guys either. So thank you guys for doing this with us. And, of course, a huge thanks to Aldo Gandia, the man with a plan, the barkeeper himself, for giving us this platform to use on a weekly basis. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Dan and Aldo Bare Their Souls. Of course, you got Greg Gabriel talking football this week. There's just draft. I think Draft on Tap's getting folks ready for the draft. So many great shows on the bar room. Hit that subscribe button. You will not regret it. And see all the great shows coming up on this network. On that note, we're going to get out of here. For the South Burbs Hitmen, I'm Joe Mandel. That's Vinnie Parisi. And Steven Zimmerman's on the bottom of the screen there. We'll be back next week. Who knows what the Sox are going to do? Hopefully it's better than we predicted, but only time will tell. As always, no matter what, let's go White Sox. See you next week.